Marineford carries one of the loudest and weakest myths in One Piece. That if Sengoku hadn't held Garp down at Akainu, would have died right there on the plaza. It sounds powerful, it feels right, and it collapses the moment you apply logic. People don't actually compare Garp and Akainu, they compare emotions. Ace had just died. Akainu delivered the blow. Garp was the grandfather forced to watch it happen. Fans wanted someone to pay. That's where the belief comes from. Not scaling, not feats, not reality. Just rage. But anger doesn't restore youth. It doesn't refill stamina. It doesn't turn an old legend back into his prime. Prime Garp fought Roger, Marineford Garp did not. By the time of the war, Garp was old, semi-retired, and removed from constant top-tier combat. Akainu, on the other hand, was in his absolute prime, fully active, battle-hardened, and built for endurance. One Piece has never been subtle about this. Age matters, it always has. And then Therese Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, a walking natural disaster. He hit Akainu with quake punches strong enough to split Marineford itself, blows that crushed organs and shattered the ground beneath them. Akainu went down, and then he got back up. Burned, bleeding, furious, and still moving forward, still fighting commanders like nothing had ended him. If Whitebeard at full fury couldn't put Akainu down permanently, the idea that Garp would casually finish the job is fantasy. Years later, we see Garp fight again on Hachinosu against Kuzan and the Blackbeard pirates, has incredible, dominant, terrifying, and he still loses. One stab makes him bleed, one ice punch knocks him down. The fight doesn't last forever, it lasts hours at most. Marineford would have been worse, because Marineford was never a one-on-one stage. If Garp attacked Akainu there, he wouldn't be a grieving grandfather anymore. He'd be a traitor in the middle of a war. Akainu would fight back. Kizaru would join. A Hakiji would step in. Vice Admirals would swarm. Thousands of Marines with rifles would open fire. This isn't a tournament. No one waits their turn. Garp gets buried under numbers. And the cruelest part, the part people avoid, Garp would be completely alone. Whitebeard was already dying. His crew was retreating. Luffy was broken and unconscious. The revolutionaries weren't there. At best, Garp lands a devastating blow, breaks bones, draws blood. At worst, and most likely, Akainu tanks it. The admirals intervene and Marineford gains another corpse. Garp doesn't walk away. People believe Garp would have killed Akainu because they confuse rage with power, because they worship Prime Garp, and because they ignore context numbers and endurance. Akainu wasn't weak enough. Garp wasn't strong enough. Marineford was never a fair fight. This isn't disrespect to Garp, it's respect for reality. If emotions decided battles, Ace would still be alive. But One Piece doesn't work like that, and neither did Marineford.